Oh, keep it on. Get the badge in.
Yeah.
Get the badge in. I was thinking we could have
These chairs are fucking
we could have
annoying.
like signature intros for a bit of brand image. And I was
Yes.
thinking Jason's would obviously be Jason McKenna.
Oh God, no. No.
Welcome back to the Numbers Game. We're going to be talking about the Premier League fixtures this weekend, but Sam has a very nifty introduction for me. So yeah, do you wanna sing it?
Jason McKenna.
Oh, mate, you should be on X Factor. But let's go into the fixtures because Ollie is dying of embarrassment and the cringe factor.
Yeah.
The first one we are picking up this weekend is Manchester City Palace. And just to give like a little cheeky spoiler, I am going very rogue with my picks here. But what do you guys think? Who's going to take it first? Who's copying who this week? I think Sam, you're going to go first.
Yeah, I'll go first because it'll tie in more nicely when Ollie gives his pick, I think. Because I feel like you two are both kind of leaning towards the same direction. For me, I noticed digging through the data, City have won only 2 of the last 5 games on XG. And that was also the 2 that they actually won against Leicester and Bournemouth. But Palace are kind of the reverse. They've been winning games despite having inferior chances created. So I feel like it's not a very sustainable run of form, even though, they put together, 10 games of really good form. And also, City conceding more chances than Palace at the moment. So that's 1.4 per game in terms of goals that they're conceding versus Palace 1.08. So that changes across the last 10 games. And it kind of shows the trade-off where Palace they've got better going forward across the last 10 games, but then they're conceding more as well. So I think going to the Etihad in a semi more vulnerable state at the back and trying to go toe to toe with City rarely works out very well. So I'm not backing Palace for this win. I'm going to City win, and I'm guessing that you two are going to disagree.
I've got Andros Townsend volley, mate, on my bench. Look, we've done the Palace numbers before, but I'm just going to repeat them again because they are absolutely breathtaking. Unbeaten in 11 Premier League away games. They'd won 6 in a row, keeping 6 clean sheets before the last one, which was a 1-1 draw away at Southampton, admittedly. They've got better attacking stats than Man City over the last 10 games as well. More clean sheets. They're just a better team than Man City at the moment. They'd be 4th in the Premier League form table if you discounted the first 10 games of the season when they didn't win one game. So they're an extremely good side. One thing I would say is Mark Gahey's injured, which could be a big factor. Mark Gahey's suspended, which could be a big factor. Lacroix, the other centre half as well, he came off of an injury in the last game. No one's really sure whether he's expected to start. So those 2 things could factor. But I just think, Palace, they've got a good record at the Etihad. They've won 2, drawn 2, and lost 2 in the last 6 visits. So very good record when you think about how good City have been. I think Palace will fancy it. I fancy it for Palace. And you know what? I reckon they'll keep that unbeaten run going.
Do you know what? You're saying that Palace have better attacking numbers. That is by 0.04 of an XG per game that you're talking about. Palace, the best team they've played over the last 10 is Aston Villa. City have played in that time Forest, Tottenham, Liverpool, Brighton.
Tottenham 7-16.
United. Like,
United
they've come against all the big guns.
14.
But what I'm saying is that compared to Palace's form of
Brighton as well.
Yeah, Brighton is shit. Southampton, Fulham, Ipswich, Millwall, Fulham,
Villa,
and then Villa, like I say, the best one, and then Everton. So
don't forget Doncaster Rovers as well.
This is what I'm saying. So
huge team.
Inflated. I feel like it's one of those. It's they're inflated because of the opposition.
Do you think City would have won all those games against those teams?
Yeah.
Yeah. The same City side that lost 9 in a row.
Oh, well, yeah, we're going back to December. The only times in the last 10 that they've lost are Real Madrid, Liverpool, and Forest away.
Yeah, draws against Brighton and Man United as well in there. I don't know. I look at this City side. I don't see any rhythm or or even any belief. I think it's just a side who are coasting towards the end of the season. Whereas Palace, I see as a side who are full of belief.
Yeah, I totally agree with you, Ollie. I think looking at this game, I feel like even the kind of betting algorithms, looking at the numbers game website, Man City are such favourites to win. I think last time I checked, it was in the 65% or something like that. I think history is playing a little bit of factor in that. People are looking at it as kind of Manchester City from last season and maybe Crystal Palace from seasons gone by as well. Whereas you've correctly commented, there's been a kind of convergence in quality between the two sides. They've done really, really well, Crystal Palace, in the second half of the season. And I think one of the things that stands out to me is that kind of loss of the Etihad being this fortress, because overall this season, very fragile, but they've conceded 19 goals at home, only 4 clean sheets in 15 games at home. That's not the kind of Manchester City of old. That's not the team that we expect. And so I think Crystal Palace, Sam, you've said there about the teams that they played, but they're building confidence. They're coming in with quality, whereas Manchester City aren't having that. And Eze is just coming alive. Mateta's coming back from that injury. He's looking really good. And I think there's some kind of standout picks there as well in terms of betting. Mateta's averaged over 1 shot on target per 90 through the season. He's overperformed XG. He's been involved with goal involvement, just kind of looking at the data over the course of the season. 0.6 goal involvements per 90. And so, he could be a good one in terms of a score or an assist kind of bet. And I guess if you are a little bit worried of Palace winning at the Etihad, I'd go with double chance because I just don't see them losing. I think Man City are not going to win this one. I think they're coming up against a really strong Palace side. And so I guess, throwing it to both of you, Sam, if you want to start, what is your bet then for this game?
So because Palace are creating more chances as of late, City obviously defensively vulnerable this season. I'm going to back both teams to score. I'm going to back over 2.5 goals in the game. I think they are going to go toe to toe, and I think that will bring goals. And I'm going to back City to win as well. I could see it being honestly like a 3-1 to City.
Yeah, I respect it. I agree with what Jason said in terms of I don't know whether Palace will win, but I see a Palace getting a result here. I go Palace double chance as well. And one guy I'd like to highlight is Marmoush, who is leading the line for City. Obviously, they're at home. They're going to dominate the ball. He's on all set pieces, we think. He's definitely on free kicks. We think he'll be on pens. Since Haaland got injured, he's averaged 2 shots on target per game. And I think that he'll be the one trying to make something happen here. So I'm going to go with Palace double chance and Marmoush shot on target.
Yeah, I'm going to go the same, but also maybe add Mateta shot on target as well, because he is Palace's front man. Everything kind of goes through him. I'd like to do something with Eze because he's looking good, but the data is just not strong enough for something to pin him down on. He's a creative force. He is the metronome of the team, but it doesn't kind of reflecting betting data too much.
All right. Well, last thing that we always actually talk about as well. City, out of all other competitions, nothing to play for apart from the Premier League and Champions League football, which obviously has an impact on PSR. Obviously, there's 5 teams that qualify now for the Champions League, but they want to secure that spot. Palace are in 11th, and if they win and all other results go in their way, they go to 10th. So it's that kind of thing of there's not much to play for Palace. They could be one of the teams that are on the beach already.
Yeah, but we saw at the end of last season a similar scenario, and Palace won 5 or 6 games in a row at the end of the season, beating all the big boys convincingly. And they're also building up to an FA Cup semi-final as well. Remember, and these 2 sides could meet in the finals.
It's a dress rehearsal.
Yeah, that adds a bit of narrative to proceedings.
It does actually. It does.
So I think we've covered our bets for that one and done all the talking points. Next up is a London derby of Arsenal versus Brentford, but this one is definitely going to be impacted by the Champions League. For me, I wouldn't touch this game in terms of betting because there's so much kind of variance going to happen with, changing of the team. But do you see something that is maybe worth having a dabble on?
I think there's an opportunity here, right? It depends what your appetite for risk is. Okay. First thing that I'll say is I don't think Arteta is a manager who loves rotation. I think he's more of a guy who likes rhythm and repetitions. We've seen how he's played Saka over the years. He's a guy who doesn't like to mix it up too much. Having said that, he was definitely going to make some rotation here. There's no doubt about it. I could see 5 or 6 changes from the team that played against Real Madrid, and it's not really like for like. Like Raheem Sterling's probably going to play, and he's been so bad this season. You might as well play with 10 players at sometimes. And so I think we will see rotation. I wouldn't back it, therefore, if you're going to go with Arsenal. There is an opportunity if you fancy Brentford, who have been brilliant this season. They've beaten some top teams. Their away record's really good. But I wouldn't touch this one even still. I don't like the punt really. I don't think you get good value for your money. I wouldn't be surprised by a 1-1 or something. I think Arteta, if he does rest Saka and Odegaard and whatnot, he will bring them on, and I could see them finishing the game strong if they need to. So
What I would say as well, though, about you said Arteta doesn't like rotating players, but that kind of plays against them in this kind of game because someone like City, where Pep's always rotating players, your quote unquote second team is kind of in the rhythm of playing anyway, in a way, a lot of them.
yeah,
Whereas Arteta, he's got a first 11,
yeah,
and then any other players that are brought in are not in the flow of playing games regularly. So
yeah.
their second team is in a way worse off for that. But yeah, Brentford, they've only lost 1 of the last 7 away games, winning 6 of them.
Yeah,
So the smart money, if I was a betting man, I would be backing a Brentford or draw, maybe double chance. But the odds are shit because the bookies think the same as well. They know that Arsenal are going to be resting players, so you're not going to get good odds on it,
yeah.
even though it's somewhat a long shot.
And we've seen with Arsenal, because they're such a good system team and they're so well coached by Arteta, we've seen like Gabriel injury, and we saw Kiwior.
Dictionary.
That Polish geezer. We've seen him slot in and and absolutely pocket Mbappe, and they never looked really in too much danger. They'll always be. I think going to the Emirates and getting a result is always going to be one of the hardest games of the season, regardless of whether they make 5 changes or not.
The kind of press conferences post game have kind of hinted at the rotation as well. So we had Mikel Arteta coming out and saying Declan Rice, he had a bit of an issue with his foot, Bukayo Saka, he had a knock. So that there's already the kind of discussion points there from the manager justifying a lot of kind of rotation. Sorry,
Something
came
wrong
off
with
earlier.
Rice's foot. It's red hot.
I think I wouldn't be surprised to see Rice play this.
Yeah.
If you're Declan Rice now, though, and you said you can go back out to the Emirates, or you can, sit on the bench, he'll want to get back out
Yeah,
there.
of
He'll still
course,
be
yeah.
buzzing from it. So I wouldn't be surprised to see Rice play. I think he'll probably rest Saka, won't he?
The only bet that I would kind of go for is it being a boring game and maybe less than 2.5 goals.
You just didn't want to say under 4, did you?
I think Brentford could run riot here, and especially if you're Nathan Collins, it's not exactly striking fear into you, is it? Seeing a 17-year-old Raheem Sterling,
and Trossard, who's been
lining up
poor.
against you.
No, I agree. Yeah, but I
Brentford
wouldn't.
to win 2-0.
I'm not touching it. I'm not putting any money on this. I'm just gonna pretend it doesn't happen.
I'm going Brentford win. Bollocks on the table now.
I like it. Clip that up. Oh, you're
Yes,
the editor.
clip that.
Clip that up.
So let's go over then to Aston Villa versus Southampton, another game that is definitely going to be impacted by Champions League rotation. The Villains want to give it all at Villa Park. Is this one that's even worth it, or is this slightly different because we have seen Villa, they do have strength and depth. They've got a lot of quality players in there. And so is this going to be Southampton, totally their season's over? They have been relegated. Will there be lots of goals, but maybe from different sources?
It's such a hard one to predict, not only because Villa are going to be resting players, but also have really good depth. So their second team is really strong anyway. But it's most interesting for me is to see how Southampton players react because they got clapped off by their fans for being the quickest team to ever be relegated from the Prem. So game's gone, utterly woke. But for me, it'll be interesting to see how they react to that. They've sacked the manager as well, so they've got a new manager bounce. They've been clapped off for being the quickest ever team to be relegated, and they're already relegation confirmed, and they're playing Villa's second team. So it's a weird one to me. Surely, as a human professional athlete, you've got to have some competitive spirit. You've been relegated. You're embarrassed. You want to put on a good show, don't you?
Oh, well, they are still playing for something because they're 1 win away from not breaking the lowest points record.
Derby
so,
County,
yeah, they do need a win at some stage, Southampton. Listen, I'm not touching this. I said that Arteta would make 5 or 6 changes. Unai Emery's a man who'll make 10 changes for me. He's got the strength. He's got the depth to do it. He's got a player in every single position he can rotate. I wouldn't even be surprised, to see him rotate Emi Martinez as well and make 11 changes because he can do it. He can do it.
Rotate himself if he could for that long-haired goth that sits on the Villa bench.
So I think Villa will beat them. I think even Villa's second team will have enough. I mean, they'll have Asensio, Marlon. They'll have some good players on the pitch still. I'm not touching it. No, not going anywhere near it.
I'm not touching it either. There's literally not one safe pick at all for it. So it's suicide, isn't it?
Let's move on to Nottingham Forest versus Everton. And I think with this one, this could throw up some surprises as well. So, Sam, do you want to start us off on the discussions of this one?
Yeah, it's an interesting one, this, because I think Forest are obviously going to be focusing on the league. They are in a semi-final of the FA Cup, which is unreal, but it's not for another 17 days. And they've got a bit of space between the Premier League fixtures as well. They'll be full flow, full strength for a league game that is their focus at the minute. And interestingly enough, the stats are quite similar to Everton's, which you wouldn't expect, across the last 10, that is. Forest tend to get more shots away, and that kind of explains the slight difference in their XG, which Forest is slightly better, but it's really close.
Forest don't play by XG though, do they? We know that.
They don't, but I could see it being another draw for Moyes, because Wood, Elanga, Aina, Awani, they're all potentially out, if not at least a few of them. So I reckon this could be like a 0-0. It wouldn't surprise me that.
Yeah, I mean Everton have gone from drawing every game 0-0 under Sean Dyche to drawing every game 1-1 under David Moyes, and I think they've not won in 6 games, but they've also in that time have 5 1-0s. Would it shock you if I said this game was going to finish 1-1?
No, not at all. I think 0-0 or 1-1 is like
It depends on
almost definitely what
I think it
be.
depends, right, on who of those players you mentioned for Forest do play, because Chris Wood might potentially be back. Anthony Elanga's had a scan, so we don't know what the extent of his injury is, but he's probably not going to start. Awaniyi looks like he's out. He's done his hamstring. Aina's probably out for the season. So there's some Awaniyi's key player, obviously, if Chris Wood isn't playing, and I don't think Chris Wood will play. So if they're missing Awaniyi, Elanga, and Chris Wood, their attack is seriously depleted. Whereas for Everton, they've just got Dwight McNeil and Broja are all back. So their attack is in a better position than it has been. Given that, I think it will be a very tight game. I'm not expecting fireworks. I think you could probably both already guess what one of my picks is.
No! I can tell your tone of voice changes as you start building up to it.
I don't know how this is possible, but both of these teams are going to end this game with about 40% of possession, and that's it. So I'm just going to go straight in there. Do you know what? I'm going to say it. Everyone wants to hear it. Under 4 goals in this one.
1 to 20 odds. License to print dough.
Listen, right, there's 2 types of bets in this world: winning bets and losing bets, and under 4 is a winning bet.
But in terms of Nottingham Forest, we have to factor in that they're kind of on a bit of a downward trend now. You know, they've had that kind of amazing run, and I think both teams to score is a very good shout, because they haven't been keeping clean sheets. They've been conceding more, and also they are performing badly in terms of XG. So looking at their last 7 Premier League games, they're on a minus 5.1 XGD, so their expected goal difference. Everton are hardly, an attack that sets the world alight, and they'll probably underperform that. But as you've said there's quite a few injury concerns for the team as well. They've done really, really well to be where they are. I just don't see how the squad maintains it, because they're stretching themselves with this weird FA Cup run that they've done as well. So
my only good thing with that is that the attacks aren't good enough. Like, especially if it's Wood and Elanga are out. But Everton don't create that much either. But even the numbers game algorithm, or the AI, has both teams to score at 50%. So it either happens or it doesn't.
Yeah, toss a coin. This is for me now. Forest are at the stage where they're definitely one of the favourites to secure a top 5 spot, no doubt about that. And I think that this kind of game, a draw will be enough for them, because I don't see the teams below them winning every game. I think they've got still got a couple of the newly promoted sides to play before the end of the season, I think. So they've got some decent fixtures left.
Which is another massive factor. For me, the only thing I'm backing for this, Ryan Yates' foul, it's the only thing I'd touch. He averages 1.6, 1.7 or so a game, and that jumps up to 2 over his last 5 games with all those players that have been out as well, where they've been a little bit more stressed, the defence. But I'd probably also touch under 2.5 goals.
Yeah, I'm going for under 4 goals, and I highlighted Beto. He has averaged 1.6 fouls per game in his last 10 games. He's averaged 2.2 fouls per game in his last 5 games, and he's going to be up against Milenkovic and Murillo, who are quite physical centre backs. He's going to be quite a physical game, I think. So I'm backing Beto to commit a foul and under 4 goals in the game.
We don't need you to come on the next podcast. I'll just get a little button set up and I press it and he goes, under 4. Under 4.
Look, the Premier League goals have seen a massive tail off since the international break. All the games have been boring and rubbish. The last Premier League game round, when there were 10 games, every single one of them had under 4 goals. I'm onto something here, and you can join
They
me
all
on
had
this
under
journey.
6 goals and under 7 goals and under 8 goals as well.
I just want to put in a cringy comment there that you got to Beto on Beto, on
That's not making the cut.
Jason McKen. We need a little jingle to press every time you make a pun like that.
Yeah.
So are we ready to go into the Sunday fixtures? Because I think there's a lot more kind of scope for betting. First one, Newcastle versus Manchester United. Sam, that's your team. So do you want to talk about United?
United. Comes down to nothing more for me, this game, than the fact that Newcastle have it all to play for. United have nothing to play for. Newcastle have just won a trophy. They're competing for the Champions League, especially with that 5th spot up for grabs as well. For me, that means that I'm not giving us much of a chance. I'm not going to lie with this one. We've got a terrible record against Newcastle. We've got a better defensive record as of late. When we've started to pick up a little bit of quote unquote form, it's not really, we're not exactly setting the world alight. We take more shots than Newcastle, which surprised me, but they're worse quality shots, so it doesn't really account for much. It's Garnacho having digs, cutting in and putting it into Rose Ed. Both teams conceding over 1.2 XG per game, and they've both got talisman that are absolutely on fire at the moment in Bruno and Isak. So those are my picks basically. Bruno, 1.6 shots on target per game across his last 10. Isak only averaging 1 on target, but he scored 5 in 8 games. He's on fire at the moment, and he looks like one of the best strikers in the world. So my picks are Bruno and Isak, shot on target. Newcastle to win as well, but it'll be shit odds probably.
I agree with you that I think this is Newcastle. Have got United's number a bit in the last couple of seasons. 4 of the last 5 times these two sides have met, Newcastle have 1-0 against them. The last season's game, Newcastle won 1-0, but it was the most one-sided 1-0 you'll ever see. United just sat in a low block, even at 1-0 down, and didn't even try and get back in the game. It'll be a high-flying Newcastle at St James's Park, which is obviously a notoriously difficult place to go. And I think the pressure will just be too much for United side, who don't really have many strong characters in the team. I think that Newcastle win this one. I can't back another Isak shot on target because it's cost me too much recently. I mean, he didn't even have a shot on target against Leicester, which killed me off because that ripped apart my ACCA. I'm going to keep it a bit more PG-13. I'm going to go with Newcastle to win 2-0.
What does that say?
It says under 4, but you know what? I'm feeling brave, and I'm going to say Newcastle United to win 2-0.
I can't see anything too dramatic happening. I feel like it'll be similar to the 1-0 that you're saying. I feel like Newcastle will dominate. It'll just be a comfortable 2-0 win or something for Newcastle.
Worth saying as well, Anthony Gordon doesn't look like he's going to be playing, so it'll be Harvey Barnes, Jacob Murphy and Isak, which is more than capable enough to score against United.
Barnes.
Yeah.
You always say Harvey Barnes, don't you? Not you in general.
It's Harvey Barnes.
It's Harvey Barnes.
Yeah,
isn't it?
is. Yeah, it is Harvey Barnes.
If I said to you, Barnes is a really good player, and we weren't talking about Newcastle, you say, who the fuck is that?
For clarification, then let's lock in our bets for this game. Do you want to start first, Ollie?
Yeah, Newcastle to win, both teams to score. No.
Oh yeah, I'm gonna go Newcastle to win. Bruno and Isak shots on target. You are right. I've been stung a few times by Isak, but it's United, so I feel like
fair enough.
Probably get a goal.
I'm gonna do Bruno and Isaac for a shot on target. Newcastle win and over 2.5 goals because I think it'll be an exciting game. But the last one for the weekend, maybe not as exciting. It depends. Liverpool versus West Ham, and you kind of got to say there's not much hope for the Hammers travelling to Anfield. But with basically the league wrapped up, are Liverpool going to be that motivated for the game? Do you want to start us off, Sam?
Yeah, I think they will be because I think they got a lot of shit for losing to Fulham. Like unnecessarily, I thought, or unfairly, because second loss of the season, everyone's treating them like they've been absolutely shit, and it's like one of the worst ever Prem titles. I don't think that's the case at all. I think they've been comfortable throughout the whole season, played a really good system under a new manager. Never looked like bottling the league or anything like that. They've just been an absolute machine. So I feel like that's really unfair. And I think they'll be determined to put in a performance after the Fulham loss. And they've got nothing else to focus on other than making it a proper, convincing league title. So I feel like with West Ham's record at Anfield combined with that, I've got my pick is Liverpool to win to 0 because West Ham don't create chances. This Liverpool defence is unbelievable. Like, keep it really tight. 1.05 XG per game. And West Ham can't create chances. So Liverpool to win to 0 for me.
Yeah, I mean, you touched on West Ham's record at Anfield there. The last time West Ham won a game at Anfield was 2015. They do not pick up points when they go to Anfield. In fact, the Liverpool have put 5 goals past West Ham 3 of the last 4 meetings. So they're used to battering West Ham. Although they've not been battering anyone recently, Liverpool, I think they'll be buoyed by the fact that Salah, Van Dijk are about to sign new contracts. Conor Bradley's back, which strengthens the team going forward as well. I don't think, Liverpool will put 5 past them. I think, Salah in particular, his attacking data has dropped off a cliff. He's got 5 goals in his last 10 games, but 4 of them have been penalties. He's averaged less than 1 shot on target per game in that time. If you've watched Liverpool, he's not really been getting involved, but they've still got enough attacking talent to score against this West Ham side. And like Sam touched on, West Ham just don't create enough at the moment.
To put it into context as well, Liverpool, the AI algorithm has Liverpool more likely to beat West Ham than Brighton do against Leicester at home, and Leicester have lost the last fucking 17 games or something.
Yeah.
The odds, surprisingly, are about what we expect them to be. So they're not a bad.
That's
not bad to back.
I think people will be backing West Ham thinking that Liverpool are going to bottle it, but
which is just stupid.
Yeah,
and I think the other thing is the Anfield factor. That is a real fortress. They've only lost once there this season. 38 points from 15 games. It's been sensational form there. They've looked really good with 32 goals scored there, only 11 conceded, and I totally agree with West Ham not to score. It's just whether the Liverpool attack turns up, but I think, is it worth less than 4?
No, well, for once I don't have it in my slip, but I think it probably will land. But I decided by the time I got to this game, I thought I need to come up with something. I need to pull a play out the bag. So I'm going a little bit off piste here, but it's nothing too crazy.
Under 5.
No, I've got Lucas Paqueta to commit a foul. Don't ask how I know, but he averages 2.5 fouls per game across the last 5. And I've also got Alexis McAllister to commit a foul. He averages 1.8 across the last 5. Because I just think if Liverpool get frustrated, I can definitely see McAllister. He feels like the guy who likes to take the initiative and take matters into his own hands a bit. And Paqueta, he's a real form player. And when he's playing badly, he basically just runs around fouling everyone. And he's been terrible this season.
Paqueta running around fouling everyone's a bit fishy, innit?
Yeah, so I'm going with Paqueta and McAllister to commit fouls, but that's because I didn't want to say under 4.
Just another guaranteed bet to win the money. That's the whole point, though. Like you said, there's only winners and losers. And Sam, what's your picks?
Speaking of losers,
mine would be Liverpool to win to 0. The only way that possibly doesn't happen if Jared Bowen gets a goal on the break or something. So it's Bowen or bust. I'm basically betting Jared Bowen not to score. Yeah, I'm going to go Liverpool to win to 0 because I don't think they'll create enough to give Bowen that chance, barring something dramatic.
My ones are going to be Liverpool to win to 0, but also a goal or an assist from Salah. That one's a bit more risky, but you got to love the Egyptian king, and I think he's going to want to push on with the new contract and also for that Premier League record. It's there for his taking. And I don't see why he doesn't push himself for that. So I think that's everything that we wanted to talk about today. That is the numbers game insight into the Premier League weekend. We're going to do a special for the Monday night fixture too. And do keep an eye on the channel. Keep subscribed because we've got some good shorts coming out as well. One on Southampton and their relegation. But just make sure to head to the website as well. numbersgame.uk. But for now, I'm going to wish everybody the best of luck. And, do comment if you do win from some of our betting tips. But for now, cheerio.
Do you sign off, Jason?
Oh, it's Jason.